One of the first questions they ask you on your application is, do you have your wisdom teeth and do you have your appendix?
So like in Antarctica.
I would love to work on the continent at one of the science bases. However, it's very competitive. The application process is not so much rigorous, but it's very unusual.
Christopher James has lived in remote places and has his sights set on working in Antarctica.
One of the first questions they ask you on your application is, do you have your wisdom teeth and do you have your appendix? So this year I will be finding a little drive-through surgery and getting my appendix removed.
Just in case you didn't catch that, this guy is going to have actual body parts removed so he can improve his chances of getting a job in Antarctica. Why? Because there are no hospitals and you can be stuck there for up to 6 months.
And then that gives you a great upper hand in the application. I shouldn't be sharing this. This is top secret information.
When we're down here on the Antarctic Peninsula, it's going to be about 0.
Jumper's job on the ship is basically to keep us alive.
If you can just go.
How long would this keep me alive for if I got it on successfully?
It depends on the temperature.
Okay.
If you're in the sea, there is a limit.
Okay.
I think it takes quite a special person to work in the bases around the Antarctic continent. You've got to kind of be quite strong. You can't get out.
Stop. A gallant effort. Right,
It's really heavy.
It is heavy. It's designed to save your life, that's why.
You've got to be able to entertain yourself. You've got to entertain others.
I'm about to jump into the sea in Antarctica.
Shaped like a dog.
Head or feet first? What did you do? I feel like I'm being led to my death.
No, you're not.
When do I go?
Whenever you're ready. I'm going to push you.
This is how people have fun in Antarctica.
This is how people have fun in Antarctica.
Okay, so I'm currently at Palmer Station, Antarctica.
This is Naomi Shelton, an American research scientist who vlogs about her life in Antarctica.
And here's the British base with their lovely scenery. There's the radioactive lab. Quite the view. Look at that. Sure doesn't disappoint Antarctica.
Life in Antarctica is really simple because your main problem is don't die. When I fell down the crevasse, I landed on a snow bridge that somehow managed to support the impact of 5 meters down the crevasse, I guess. So I could touch the walls on both sides with my hands and with my legs. So I would stab my crampons into the walls and just gradually make my way up.
It felt really good that there was just this place, a powerful place, a dangerous place, that we all had a responsibility to.
Rob Swan was the first man to ever walk to both the North and South Poles. He and his son Barney are now planning an expedition to the South Pole using exclusively renewable energy. Another world first.
We were at the same level as everything. You know, out here, if the generator on the ship breaks down, if the ship sinks, you know, we're out of the game. And you can't ring up mummy for help or dial 999 for the ambulance. We're on the edge of the planet.
Antarctica. It's humbling. Words and pictures just can't do it justice. But it's changing. We're just walking past some travel agent windows and they're advertising last minute trips to Antarctica. Like you're kind of jetting off to Spain or something. I didn't really realise that you could book a last minute trip to Antarctica.
it's not very environmentally friendly to bring people to Antarctica on a ship. So each person who's here on our expedition has used 12 tons of CO2 to be here. That's an average UK family for a year.
I feel guilty, you know, when I'm on a plane going to somewhere to talk about these things and the plane's running off fuel, but it is definitely a hard line to walk, and I feel that every time that we're on a boat. You know, documentaries are great, but until you can feel and you can touch and you can engage with your environment, I think creating that connection is really hard.
It's something we definitely felt conscious of, coming all this way, flying so many miles, and then talking about carbon footprints, all without being hypocrites.
From the first expedition ship, or bringing tourists down in the Antarctic, was back in 1969. So then you were talking like a few hundred people. Last season there was around 34,000 people coming to visit.
Shelley runs the trips aboard the Ocean Endeavour.
And the expected growth over the next 2 to 3 years is going to be around 45%. You know, we do have an increase of temperature, and now we're really dealing with a lot more crevasses that are appearing at some of the sites we go, which are really apparent at the end of the season. So there we have to modify for that. Yes, it is my last voyage as expedition leader with Clark. Now we're going into bigger vessels. For me, I actually want to go back to New Zealand. I want to live in New Zealand. I have so many phenomenal memories, but the one that will always stick with me is my first ever landing.
And does it ever stop feeling special?
No. Every day is different, every day is exciting, every day is like a new day.
Got a pretty awesome job.
It's a fantastic job.
You wear enough clothes and you're never cold. The downside was at one point I realized I hadn't actually taken off my underwear for 5.5 weeks straight. But studying the penguins was incredible.